Lil Poppa, born Janarius Wheeler, has died at the age of 25.
He was only 5 years old when he survived the same gunfire that took his friends' lives. And somehow, he grew up to run up millions with Yo Gotti. That kind of story sounds unreal. From trauma to trophies, from surviving chaos to signing major deals. But here's the part nobody talks about. Money and fame can't quiet your thoughts when your mind won't let you rest. Oh my God, this was deeper than rap. Lil Poppa's final tweets were straight up haunting. "I'm scared to go to sleep and I'm lonely, bro. Somebody going to die." 3 days later, he was gone, found lifeless in Atlanta. That hit different. What really pushed Jacksonville's golden boy to that point? This wasn't just any rapper from Duval. He was the hope, the one people swore would truly escape the struggle. Signed to Yo Gotti's CMG label, stacking millions of streams, living a dream most people from his city couldn't even picture. He made it out on paper, but inside, something was still fighting him.
Oh my God, no, serious.
No matter how high he climbed, success never silenced the pain buried deep inside him. The same 2018 shooting that helped put his name on the map also left invisible scars nobody could see. On the outside, he looked strong. Inside, he was still carrying that night with him. Those wounds never truly closed. To understand how someone with so much going for him ended up battling his own darkness, you have to rewind everything. Take it back to the rough blocks of Jacksonville, Florida, a city where the murder rate stays way above the national average, a place where childhood gets cut short and the streets play by their own rules. You either rise up or you get stuck in a cycle that does not let go. And Lil Poppa, born Jerry Mike Wheeler, was fighting hard to carve out a different path. He moved between his mom's place on the east side and his grandma's house on the west. Two sides of the city, one goal: survive and level up.
I'm finna get out of this bitch, cause y'all negative. On my mama, y'all come out Lil Poppa on my mama. Like, I'm not even playing on my mama. Oh my God, no, serious. No, oh my God, oh.
His mom did everything she could to keep him focused, keeping him in church and away from the chaos outside. That is where it started. At just 6 years old, he was spitting Christian rhymes in church, grabbing the mic with a confidence most grown artists never find. His older brother, Chi-Chi, showed him the basics, and Poppa took off with it like it was already in his blood. People around him felt it early. This was not just skill, this felt like destiny. His grandma's house became his safe space, a quiet corner where he could write, think, and dream bigger than the blocks trying to pull him back. Growing up in Jacksonville means one thing: sooner or later, the streets call your name. And when Lil Poppa finally stepped off that porch, his rhymes started reflecting the raw reality he saw every single day. This was not fairy tale music. This was real life, straight from the block. He was stuck between two sides of the city. The east side where his mom stayed and tension stayed high, and the west side where his grandma lived. But peace never lasted long.
Man, any young niggas on here right now, it's more to life, man. It's more to life.
He was not just hearing about violence, he was watching it unfold. Shootings in daylight hours, friends getting locked up, others not making it back home at all. That kind of pressure changes a kid fast. All that pain and trauma spilled into his music like therapy over hard beats. But here's what made Poppa different. He didn't break when life hit him hard. On top of everything, he was dealing with a serious chronic blood condition that kept him stuck in bed for days, sometimes weeks. Still, he refused to stop. While most people would have given up, Poppa doubled down. When others rested, he worked. He built a tiny studio inside his grandma's closet so he could record without even stepping outside. That's hustle on another level. His family saw the fire in him and supported him heavy, even though they quietly worried about what the spotlight could bring.
They don't. You'll be proud of me, OG. Woke up, read me a Bible verse, got some breakfast in my system, talked to God about it. You know what I'm saying? And he laid it on me. I got one more album, EP, mixtape, whichever one it's gonna be, I got one more. And it's over, I'm going to find my people.
They knew Jacksonville had a history of turning bright futures into tragic headlines. The city had seen it before, but Poppa wasn't trying to become another cautionary tale. He wanted to rewrite the script. By 14, he dropped his first music video, and from that point, it was motion. He flooded the streets with singles, mixtapes, and visuals that had the whole city watching. The buzz was real. His name was moving fast. This was not some kid chasing attention. This was a young artist with real lived experience, sharp lyrics, and a hunger you could feel through the speakers. Then came 2018, the year that flipped his whole world upside down. But before we get into what really shattered Lil Poppa's spirit, you have to understand the jungle he was navigating. Jacksonville's rap scene in the late 2010s was intense. It was chaos on tracks and even more tension in real life. You had Young and Ace going at it with Foolio, neighborhoods divided, and every new rapper feeling pressure to choose a side whether they wanted to or not. Poppa and his circle rolled as a group called Cut Circle. They said it was just a music collective built on art and unity. That was their story, but law enforcement saw it differently. Authorities believed some members were connected to street conflicts, and from that point, attention followed them everywhere. From the blocks to official investigations, the spotlight was heavy. Cut Circle had serious tension with another group called Head First, and this was not some light rap competition. The energy between them ran deep. What makes it even crazier is that Lil Poppa and Foolio actually used to be cool. They had studio sessions together when both were still grinding for a breakthrough.
You'll be proud of me, OG. Woke up, read me a Bible verse, got some breakfast in my system, talked to God about it. You know what I'm saying? And he laid it on me. I got one more album, EP, mixtape, whichever one it's gonna be, I got one more. And it's over, I'm going to find my people.
But one random day, everything shifted. And it all started with a fight inside a Foot Locker. Word on social media was people kept comparing them non-stop, asking who's better, Poppa or Julio. The comments were wild. Then Julio jumped in himself and said he was the top dog. That one reply added serious pressure. After that, the story turned messy. Julio gave different versions of what really happened. In one interview, he said Poppa had been sliding quiet disses and songs behind his back. In another, he claimed Poppa ran into him at the mall acting slick. Then one of Poppa's friends made a comment about his late brother, 8 Ball. That's when everything blew up. Part of the fight even got caught on camera. You could see Julio and his crew putting hands on Poppa. It didn't look life-threatening. Nobody was seriously injured, but the damage was deeper than bruises. That moment lit something that never cooled. From there, both sides started firing shots and songs, taking tension from the street straight into the booth. Things turned personal fast. Poppa crossed a serious line when he mentioned Julio's late brother 8 Ball on Instagram Live, and in a lyric that hit deep. There's no easy return from that. Julio responded with just as much intensity, bringing up Poppa's late friend Corbin Johnson, who had been kidnapped and later found deceased. Now this was not music rivalry. This was real grief being turned into lyrics. Then another rapper stepped into the chaos. K Shorty from 6 Block started dropping lines aimed at Poppa's late brother Lil Lee, saying things like smoking on Michi and Lee, and I ain't worried about Gucci, I'm looking for Poppa. The disrespect felt heavy. Poppa answered back, referencing the tragic death of 17-year-old Mandy Wise, who was caught in crossfire during what was rumored to be an attempt connected to K Shorty. Everything was spiraling. Pride, pain, loss, all getting mixed into tracks. What started as words online was turning darker by the day. And all of this was happening while Lil Poppa was trying to build a real career in music. Imagine chasing your dream while constantly looking over your shoulder, hearing people dish your fallen friends, seeing your family's pain turned into punchlines. Yet he still showed up to record, still hit the studio, still perform. That was the storm he was living in every single day. But to understand what truly weighed on Lil Poppa's spirit, you have to go back to the moment that made him a household name and shook him at the same time. It was 2018. Lil Poppa was with his day ones, the same friends he grew up with, trusted like family. They were just young men trying to survive and build something real in a city that rarely offers second chances. That day though, everything changed, and the impact of that moment would follow him long after the headlines faded.
I want to give a, TIP Thug and Peace to Lil Poppa, man. My little right there, always supported me, looked up to me, like, can't no boost it back.
According to multiple reports, Poppa and his crew were ambushed in the drive-by shooting. Bullets flying everywhere, windows shattering, pure chaos breaking loose in seconds. When the smoke cleared, the scene was something nobody there could ever forget. 2, maybe even 3 of his closest friends were gone. The details shifted depending on who told it, but one fact never changed. Multiple people from his circle did not make it home that night. And the part that cut Poppa the deepest, he walked away without a single scratch. Not one bullet touched him while his brothers were fighting for their lives. That kind of reality stays with you. One of the victims was his close friend CP, someone he had been locked in with for years. Another was his friend Chevy, who was reportedly hit while trying to shield him during the chaos. That weight was heavy, way heavier than most people could see from the outside. After that night, something inside him shifted. He began battling what psychologists call survivor's guilt, that painful question that never stops replaying in your mind. Why me? Why am I still here when they are not? Why did I survive? What makes my life worth more? Those thoughts followed him day and night.
Shout out to T.I.P. Poppa, Thug and Peace, and Pop. Talented, boy. T.I.P. Poppa, the Duval legend across the world. YN with Pop, my daughter, them, T.I.P. Poppa.
Instead of hiding from the pain, he poured it into his music. He released a track called Purple Hearts, and if you really listen, it feels like a cry for help. When he rapped, I wonder why them bullets ain't hit me, why they miss me, rather be gone, take me out my misery. That line said everything. You could hear the guilt, the confusion, the heartbreak in his voice, like he was still stuck in that moment. He was not just grieving, he was carrying deep survivor's remorse, that heavy feeling of still breathing while the people you love are gone. In the same song, he said, detectives tried to frame me, interrogation, they blame me. Wish I could take it back to the day that my mama made me. That darkness was loud. Now picture this, you survive a shooting that takes your closest friends, and instead of being surrounded by comfort, you're sitting in an interrogation room under bright lights with investigators questioning you about the same tragedy that broke you. That was his reality. Then the chorus hit, Purple Hearts for them soldiers, brothers gone, fearless, gotta make it out before they come and kill us. That was not just music, that was his diary spilling out over a beat. He turned his trauma into a masterpiece that spoke to every soul who had lost someone to the streets. The wild twist, the very track born from his worst nightmare, exploded past 6 million views on YouTube. The pain that almost broke him became the song that made him famous. That's twisted when you really think about it. The same heartbreak that kept him up at night is what pushed his name into millions of homes. But fame did not heal the wound, it pressed on it. Purple Hearts was powerful, but it was bittersweet. On one side, it showed the world Lil Poppa's raw storytelling and emotional depth. On the other, every time he performed it, he had to relive that night in his head. Every cheer from the crowd came with flashbacks. That's the part fans never saw, the quiet ache behind the applause. The record grabbed serious industry attention. Polo G noticed. By 2019, Poppa signed a deal with Rule No. 1 and Interscope Records. For a young artist out of Jacksonville, that was major. The city felt proud. He looked like proof that you could come from chaos and still rise. Then, in April 2022, Yo Gotti brought him into CMG, Collective Music Group. That was a huge move. CMG was stacked with heavy hitters like Moneybagg Yo, 42 Doug, and ESTG. When Gotti signs you, it feels like a stamp of approval, like the game is saying you belong here. Gotti saw more than just a street rapper. He saw a storyteller, a young man who could turn real pain into poetry. Money started flowing. Streams climbed into the millions. Studio sessions leveled up. A kid who once recorded inside his grandma's closet was now working in high-end studios with major artists. He was living the dream every young rapper in Jacksonville talked about. But here's what people miss about success. It doesn't erase trauma. Money can't silence memories. Fame can't shut off survivor's guilt. No contract can fix a wounded mind. Even with major deals and packed shows, he was still carrying 2018 with him, still asking why he survived when his brothers didn't. On top of that, his chronic blood condition was still affecting him. In a 2021 DJ Booth interview, he shared how it would leave him stuck in bed for days, sometimes unable to move. Imagine being one of the hottest young artists rising up, but physically not being able to get out of bed. That frustration hits deep. And when fame came, it brought pressure. Now it wasn't just about expressing pain. The label needed hits. The fans wanted more music. His team saw him as the one who could take him to the next level. Expectations stacked up fast. That's when he dropped his Under Investigation mixtape series. Raw, unfiltered. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He spoke about street life, survival, grief, and the weight of it all. People in Jacksonville felt seen, and listeners from completely different cities connected with him too. That honesty turned him into just another rapper, a voice for people fighting silent battles. Outlets described his music as deeply personal, touching on mental health, grief, trust issues, and survivor's guilt. That's why fans felt him. He wasn't pretending. He was open about the darkness. But here's the painful part. While the world praised him for being vulnerable, he was still living that struggle in real time. The same mind that created healing music was also wrestling with heavy thoughts. His chronic illness never disappeared. The trauma never faded. Reports suggested he stayed hyper-aware of his surroundings, always alert, always listening for danger. Even after success, that sense of survival mode never fully left. In his lyrics, he often referenced sleepless nights, anger, and bottled-up emotions. He even admitted he felt like he couldn't cry anymore. That kind of emotional shutdown says a lot. Even his Instagram bio was heavy. It read, "First we're born, next we suffer, then we die. The end." That's not just someone trying to sound deep. That reflects a mind carrying serious weight. In August 2025, he dropped what would become his final album, Almost Normal Again. Even that title felt revealing. Almost normal again. That sounds like someone trying to return to peace, but not quite making it. Like he was reaching for balance, but still stuck in the storm. In the weeks before his passing, his post told a story that many people missed. Some tweets felt darker, mixed between music promos and business updates, with messages that sounded lonely. He wrote, "I'm scared to go to sleep and I'm lonely, bro." Then, "Is it okay to cry? I never asked for any of this." And another, "I shed all my tears in the dark." Then there was the one that shook people later. "I thought they was loyal, but the jury made them judge me. Trust no one. You in heaven or hell, it don't matter. Somebody gon' die." Those were not lyrics for hype. Those felt personal. The hard truth about social media is that it moves fast. People scroll, like, and keep going, not always realizing someone might be hurting behind the screen. His pain was sitting in plain sight, hidden between studio clips and smiling photos. Looking back, those posts now feel like signals. They showed loneliness, heavy thoughts, and deep trust issues. And yet, just weeks before, he had also posted positive messages. He talked about focusing on music, about being away from the streets, about growth. He looked hopeful. That's what makes it even more heartbreaking. On the outside, it looked like he was finally finding peace, but inside, the storm was still there, quiet but powerful.
Man, any young niggas on here right now, it's more to life, man. It's more to life.
One day you wake up feeling unstoppable, like nothing can touch you. The next day it feels like the whole world is closing in. You can be surrounded by money, love, fans, and still feel completely alone inside. Depression does not care about followers, plaques, or net worth. It does not check your bank account before it hits. It can reach anybody, even someone living what looks like the dream. Then came February 18, 2026, a date that froze the hip-hop world. At 11:23 a.m. Eastern Time in Fulton County, Georgia, Jarius Mike Willer, known to millions as Lil Poppa, was pronounced dead. He was only 25 years old. The official details are not fully confirmed, but people close to him said it was self-inflicted. The rumors moved fast. Some said it was a gun, others whispered pills. No matter what, the outcome was the same. A young man who survived the streets could not survive the battle in his own mind. And this part hurt even more. Just 72 hours before his death, Poppa dropped a new single called Out of Town. He was still working, still recording, still planning for tomorrow. His numbers were strong, millions of monthly listeners, active online. From the outside, everything looked solid. Then his producer, Scotty, shared the news in a heartbreaking post. Shock hit instantly. Fans, friends, and artists filled timelines with tributes. Nobody could understand how someone who made it out could still leave so soon. Think about it. He came from one of the toughest cities in the country, survived shootings, signed major deals, inspired young people who saw him as proof you could rise above it. He had fame, money, respect, yet peace still felt out of reach. Some people began questioning his label, CMG, bringing up an old tweet where he said, "I got 2 albums left before I pack my stuff and leave a label." That reopened conversations. Was he overwhelmed? Was the pressure too much? There were no clear answers. What became obvious was that fame, trauma, and expectations had been weighing on him for years. In hip-hop, there's an unspoken rule. Stay tough, stay unbreakable, do not show weakness. Young men are often taught to hold everything in, never cry, never ask for help. But that silence can be dangerous. For Lil Poppa, the weight became too heavy to carry alone. He was doing something powerful, though. He talked openly about pain in his music. He spoke on depression, survivor's guilt, grief. That takes courage, but sometimes expression through songs is not enough. Real support matters too, beyond the studio, beyond applause. In communities like Jacksonville, mental health resources can be limited. Therapy is not always easy to access, and in environments shaped by violence and loss, emotions often get buried just to survive. When that's your reality, where do you even go for help? How do you heal when everyone around you is trying to stay strong? That's why his story goes beyond music. It's bigger than hits and streams. It's a reminder to check on people, especially the ones who look like they have everything together. Sometimes the brightest smiles hide the deepest pain. Money does not repair trauma. Fame does not silence guilt. The 1918 shooting did not just take his friends. It planted trauma that stayed with him. Survivor's guilt does not fade with time. It lingers. It grows if it's never treated. His story shows that surviving violence is not the end of the struggle. For many, it's just the beginning of a different kind of battle. If you or someone you know is struggling with depression or thoughts of self-harm, please reach out for help. In the United States, you can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or text HOME to 741-741 to connect with the crisis text line. You don't have to face it alone. Rest in peace to Lil Poppa, Jarius Mike Willer, a young artist who turned pain into poetry, but couldn't escape the weight that shaped him. He survived the streets, illness, and loss. The hardest fight was the one inside. His music remains, a voice that spoke honestly about trauma and grief. His passing should push communities to take mental health seriously. We can't just celebrate artists when they win, we have to support them while they're carrying heavy loads. And for clarity, there is no confirmed evidence that CMG or Yo Gotti played any role in his death. They provided a platform that helped amplify his voice. The deeper issue was trauma that never fully healed. His body left Jacksonville, but parts of his mind stayed stuck in that 2018 night. Jacksonville's rap scene felt another deep loss. The city had already faced tragedy in recent years, and this added more weight. What shocked people most was how unexpected it felt. He was focused on music, staying low-key, building his future. That's why it hit so hard. Lil Poppa was trying. He spoke about mental health. He chose music over violence. He was open, honest, vulnerable, and still the weight was heavy. His passing reveals something the culture needs to face. Success does not heal trauma. You can have the chains, the plaques, the followers, and still feel broken inside. That truth is uncomfortable, but it's real. If this story moved you, drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Street Smoke for more real stories that go beyond the headlines.